hive top feeder on it. And this here is good for a lot of women that don't want various sizes. One size box and one size frame, all through the bee yard. It's got its good points and it's got its bad points. This is more versatile. And you can take a bottom like this and put a deep above it or below it. And if you decide you want to sell a nuke to someone, if a customer comes, like on this one here, you could sell the deep here with the queen and put a queen selling this part or a mated queen. If you do nothing but this, the disadvantage is someone is going to come up, I want a deep. But right now there's a greater majority of people want all mediums because they're lighter. This will make more honey than a great big 10 frame. And I don't know if any of you's got 10 frame stuff right now, but a 10 frame, you have to keep reversing from the outside to the inside. I run 10 frame and I give it up 40 years ago because an 8 frame will outproduce the 10 frame because bees build vertically. Now what you see here, this just looks like nukes, but if you think about it, this is a tree. That's the way bees build, upward. But this tree here, you can work it all the way down. Okay, you have any questions on that part of it? You know what the frames and everything look like. Okay. These are just a 6 1/4 frame. These other ones are 9 1/8. Now, if you happen to have plastic and you've got queen cells, this is a queen castle where you can make 4 queens in one box. Okay, some people get started with plastic by mistake. Always think about the woods. Do what the bees do natural. Notice none of my hives have metal. You put metal on a beehive, it takes 20% more bees to keep it cool. It's a heat sink. Also a bug collector. And you notice when we lift the hive, I got hives out here, I'll show you. We don't run inner covers. If anybody has bees now and they have inner covers, I don't even have to look in your hive. I'll guarantee you got ants, roaches, and hive beetles. You got bees now?
No, I don't.
Oh, well.
I'm just grossed out by roaches.
Well, that's what'll happen. But now, if you have plastic and you have a queen cell, you put it in here. Now, you'll understand what bees do. 2 things. They only do those 2 things. They multiply and they store honey. And if you run a single-story hive like this or run a configuration like that, when the bees get crowded or they get full of honey, they're going to make queen cells. A hive like that can make, each frame can have up to 20 cells on it, and 20 times 35. And don't listen to people, they say just scrape this stuff off, throw it. You're throwing money away. You wouldn't throw $200 bills there, would you? Same thing. This is a queen castle, and it's basically set up so you put your frames in here. If you have a piece of plastic frame that has a queen cell on it, or 2 or 3, you can just set it in here. And you can mark it on the calendar when you put it in there. You might have 5 queen cells on it. If you can catch the first one, as soon as that queen hatches, leave the other frame in here, take that, and either move it to another compartment or another hive. Hives build up faster than you could ever believe. You can start with 2 hives and end up with about 50 the same year.
How are you feeding in there?
This here, when you make your split on this, you have a frame of honey in there. That way, if you do move that frame that's got the queen cells, you always got the bees stay there, and they got something to eat.
All right, someone mentioned sponge with water in it at the bottom.
We come across a lot of different variations. I don't want to say a lot of things about other beekeeping practices. If you want to learn something, ask people who make a living at it. If they're willing to share. Most people are backyard beekeepers, and backyard beekeeping won't make money. You will lose hives 4 or 5 years before you ever get to where you make money. And what I'm trying to do is, first day in here, I want you to make money. I have students from all over make money the first year and got more business than they can handle by the second year.
So no sponge, but they'll just use the honey off
Just
the
use the
hive
honey.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
These are easy to make. Now there's 4 entrances on this all the way around. Now, you have to feed bees to build them up. That's why we use these hive top feeders. Now, there's a lot of people say, well, I've got a river right here. If you take and put, in the summertime, you put water in this feeder, you're gonna make more honey. You'll make 1 gallon to 3 gallons more honey by pure water in there. And no one wants to ask no questions about that?
Why?
Why? All right, you have a river right here, right?
Yeah, I got a river.
Okay, and now you listen to this good. All them young bees in there, they can't fly. How do they get water there? The bees have to haul it. Now, you put water here, every single bee is hauling nectar. That's why you make 1 to 3 gallons more honey.
Oh my God.
I'm teaching knowledge. I'm not trying to sell you a thing. I want you to be a better beekeeper.
Right, thank you.
I have a big pond and I thought I was so smart. Never
If you
dawned
come
on
here
me.
and you learn something each time you come,
That was worth the price of admission right there.
well, there you go. I'm trying to save you, but you don't have to buy nothing from me. If you get 2 hives of bees, from that point on, the only reason you need to buy bees is you want to improve stock. If your bees are dying, you're not doing something right. Okay? But you shouldn't be losing bees. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because if I don't know what you're thinking, I can't answer your question.
Okay, so we get the packages, we're putting them in, we're feeding them sugar.
Right.
Initially.
Right.
But then at what point do you cut it off and put the water in there?
At that point, I ask you, what are you using bees for? Why do you want bees?
Well, I'm doing it to sell bees.
All right, then are you worried about honey?
No.
I got buckets of honey right now I'm dumping yesterday. I keep dumping buckets of honey out on a lid and letting the bees eat it.
Okay.
And if you want to check on a hive, you can take a honey bear and come up to an entrance and just squeeze a little line there of honey. If there's a honey flow, the bees will go right through that. You can tell if a honey flow starts and stops within 10 to 15 minutes. Bees will not eat honey. They will not eat sugar if there's honey flow. See? Now, everybody around have a farm where you got kudzu? You got, what, was that bad?
I don't.
You have kudzu? That's like $35 a quart. That's Smurfberry honey. What? See, you put something down that you don't understand.
I guess.
If you look at your kudzu and you see the first blue flower, pull all the honey off your hive. And then all the honey coming in is going to be blue. And I sell it, I call it Smurfberry. Because if I told you it was kudzu, you wouldn't buy it. I get $35 a quart for it.
You can make
It
jelly
tastes
out
like
of
grape.
flowers of kudzu.
Yeah,
Very
see?
delicious.
Oh,
Lots of things you can do with
I
kudzu.
have porcelain vine.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's the one with the little blue berries on it that, like kudzu.
If it's in that vine family, they'll make some honey on it. You know?
Yeah, that's my biggest producer.
Now, if you want to graduate from the beekeeping or making honey to making a living, you make your queens that way. A hive like this.
Make your queens this way.
See, people give you so much wrong information. Everybody heard about, you just do a walk-away split. Everybody said, this hive, we're doing a walk-away if I split it and just walk away. There's enough bees in 1/2 of this to do 50 of those boxes. That hive over there is a miniature hive. It takes a queen cell and a cup of bees. That's all it takes. This hive, if you split it like a lot of people backyard doing, they have to fly out to mate. There's no guarantee to come back. And if you got 5 pounds of bees going in and they come back, that's a lot of lost money. So what does most of you want to do? Honey? Anybody have bees now? You got bees. You got bees? All right, do you use a queen excluder?
I do not.
Okay. You got metal on the lid?
That bee man told me not to years ago.
If you have metal, remove that if you can, or build your lid. Now, I don't run. I run solid bottoms. I don't run screens. If you run screens, you run problems. You run screens?
Nope.
Okay. Now, these are just for demonstration today. I like to keep all hives. This is the bottom board. I like to keep the bottom board at least knee high. That way you're not bending over. Same with those over there. We try to keep those up higher. You want to be comfortable, and don't want to lift higher than this. So when you harvest honey, don't harvest once a year. Harvest every 3 to 4 days. You want to have good honey, or you want to have sweet nothing. I can set from, say, the first part of February to the end of March. I can set jars all the way down the line. You can see color change. You can taste the difference from one to the other. Say, that's what people don't understand. You get a better price if you have more definite bloom. And what I do is I take a wheelbarrow like this. I take a lid, turn it upside down, and I get a deep box, one of those deep ones there. And I come to this high. If I got a frame that's sealed on both sides, then I pull it out and I'll set it in there. And I'll put back an empty frame, or I'll put a frame with a starter strip. Now, people, do you use starter strips or do you use full sheets? You never thought about it. Well, if you put wired foundation, if you buy foundation from any bee store, it has chemical. People don't understand that. The bee companies have spent thousands of dollars, in the supply companies that bought so much wax from China, and China has used chemicals banned for 60 years already. And whenever you put a chemical in that hive, it contaminates the wax. You never get it out. If you pass it off for candle burning, I mean, I don't want to smell the stuff myself, but those are the things people are not aware of.